The melody of us Emma had always believed that love was a grand story, something written in the stars, fated to be. She grew up hearing tales of passionate romance and fairy tale endings, where every twist and turn brought two souls closer. But when she moved to the quiet town of Meadowbrook, it didn't seem like a place where love stories happened. The town was small with only a handful of people, and Emma had already convinced herself that life here would be calm, perhaps a little too quiet. On her first day, she wandered through the town square, taking in the charming architecture and the peaceful flow of life. There was a small cafe by the corner, with a faded sign that read, Rose's Café. It seemed like the kind of place where everyone knew each other, and Emma could almost feel the warmth radiating from within. Her curiosity got the better of her, and she stepped inside. The smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of pastries. The atmosphere was cozy, with soft jazz music playing in the background. Behind the counter stood a young man, his back to her as he poured coffee into a mug. He wore a worn leather jacket, his hair slightly tousled. She hesitated for a moment before stepping up to the counter. "What can I get for you?" he asked, turning around to face her. His eyes were a deep shade of brown, warm and inviting, and there was a softness to his voice that made Emma feel like she'd known him forever. She blushed slightly and ordered a cappuccino, trying to keep her composure. He smiled warmly and made her drink with a quiet grace, his movements precise as if he had done it 1,000 times. As he handed her the cappuccino, their fingers brushed briefly, sending a subtle jolt through Emma's body. It was a small gesture, but the warmth lingered. She tried to shake the feeling off as she took the drink and sat by the window. For the next few days, Emma found herself returning to the cafe, drawn by something she couldn't quite explain. She would sit in the same corner, observing the quiet life of Meadowbrook, always stealing glances at the young man behind the counter. His name, she learned, was Noah. He was soft-spoken, and his smile seemed genuine every time their eyes met. They exchanged pleasantries, but there was an unspoken understanding between them, as if their souls recognized something familiar in each other. One afternoon, as Emma took her usual seat, Noah approached her table, holding a tray with a piece of cake. "I thought you might like this," he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "It's Rose's secret recipe, perfect for a day like today." Emma smiled, touched by the gesture. They had never spoken much outside of the usual greetings, but something about his kindness made her heart flutter. They began to talk more often after that. Emma learned that Noah had grown up in Meadowbrook, and though he loved the town, he sometimes felt trapped by its predictability. He had dreams of traveling, of seeing the world beyond the small town, but for now the cafe was his life. Emma, on the other hand, had moved here to escape the chaos of her city life, hoping to find peace and clarity. As the weeks passed, Emma found herself thinking about Noah more and more. His smile, his gentle laugh, the way his eyes seemed to light up when he talked about his passions. But it was more than just physical attraction. There was a depth in him that resonated with her. A part of her felt drawn to him in a way she couldn't quite explain. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma returned to the cafe after a long day of work. She found Noah closing up, the last of the customers leaving. The cafe was dimly lit, the soft hum of the music the only sound. Emma hesitated before approaching him. "It's a quiet night," she remarked, standing at the counter. "Are you closing up soon?" Noah looked up and smiled, the exhaustion from the long day evident on his face. "Yeah, just finishing up." "Would you like to stay a little longer? I can brew you something special." The invitation hung in the air, and before she could stop herself, Emma nodded. They sat together in the dim light, sipping their drinks in comfortable silence. It was the first time they had spent time alone like this, and Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of intimacy that seemed to grow between them with every passing minute. "Noah," she began, her voice softer than she intended, "why do you stay here if you dream of something more?" He looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "I don't know," he admitted. "I guess. I've always believed that life will take me where I need to go. But right now, I think I need this place. I think I need you." His words caught her off guard, but there was sincerity in his eyes that made her heart race. "You're not afraid to chase your dreams?" Emma asked. "What if they don't come true?" Noah shook his head. "I believe in taking chances, in living for the moments that matter. And this moment right now, This is one that matters. There was a tension in the air, a quiet anticipation as they both sat there, letting the weight of his words settle between them. Emma didn't know what it was, but something inside her clicked. She had never felt more alive than in that moment with him. As the night grew late, Noah walked her home, his presence beside her comforting. The streets were empty, the moon casting a soft glow over everything. Emma could feel the pull between them growing stronger, and as they reached her doorstep, she turned to face him. "Thank you for tonight," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Noah smiled, his eyes never leaving hers. "I'm glad you came." And then, before she could think about it, he leaned in. His kiss was gentle at first, as if testing the waters, but when Emma responded, it deepened, and the world around them seemed to vanish. The only thing that mattered in that moment was them. After that night, everything changed. Emma and Noah were inseparable. They spent their days exploring Meadowbrook, sharing dreams, fears, and stories of the past. With each passing day, Emma felt like she was falling deeper in love with him, but she also felt something more profound. It was as if they had been connected long before they met, as if their souls had always known each other. Yet with that deep connection came questions. Emma began to wonder if their love could survive the inevitable changes that would come with time. Would Noah ever leave Meadowbrook? Would they be able to hold on to what they had when the world outside tugged at them? One evening, as they sat by the lake, watching the sunset, Emma voiced her fears. "What happens when you leave?" she asked, her voice trembling. "What happens when the dreams you've always had pull you away from here?" Noah took her hand, his grip firm but gentle. "I don't know where life will take me, Emma, but I do know this: no matter what, you'll always be a part of my story." His words brought her peace, and for the first time, Emma realized that love wasn't about holding on tightly. It was about trusting that no matter where life took them, they would find their way back to each other. Months passed, and Noah did, in fact, leave Meadowbrook for a while, chasing his dreams and exploring the world. But the love between them never faded. They stayed connected through letters, calls, and the occasional visit. The bond they shared was unbreakable, a foundation they both cherished. When Noah returned, it was as if nothing had changed. He came back to Rose's Café, the place where they had first met, and Emma was there waiting for him, just like before. They shared a quiet, knowing smile. The journey had only strengthened their love, and now they knew they were ready to take the next step together. Over the years, Emma and Noah built a life together, one that was filled with laughter, shared dreams, and quiet moments. They traveled the world just as Noah had once dreamed, but always found their way back to Meadowbrook, to the cafe where it all began. And as they grew old together, Emma realized that the love they shared was not just a fleeting moment. It was the melody of their lives, a song they would sing forever, no matter where they went. The story of their love was their own, and it was perfect, just as it was.